Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first official guest podcast interview with the Potent Healer podcast. I'm still getting used to my verbiage here. I have a guest today. Her name is Lauren Schwab. She is a retreat host and coach. She has so many amazing accolades. I could be here all day talking about how amazing she is. I'm going to let her do that for us today. Lauren is an expert in health, wellness, and the mind-body connection. Lauren, I'm happy to have you here. And my first question for you before you give us all the goodness is, what makes you potent?
Oh, I love this question. I truly believe that it's my light. So many people always ask, how can you get through this or get through that or forgive this person or forgive that person or whatever it is. And I think it's just a light. And I've had many people say that it's just like my presence is my power. And I just believe that that's the light. So I would say the light makes me potent.
I love that. And you know what is so amazing is how many other people have that within them.
Yes, everyone. They all have the light. It's just that, are they dimming it? Are they covering it up? Are they gonna, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine.
Absolutely. I love that. How do you let your light shine?
I think a lot of times people are like, how are you so positive through these experiences? And it's because I've been through challenging times and I've been through struggles and I've come out on the other side. So I know that there's always the other side. And so that allows me to stay positive and to let that light shine. I also know that in relationships and friendships, it doesn't really serve anyone's good if I bring the darkness or I try to dim their lights or even try to dim down my own light to make people feel more comfortable around me or more secure around me. So, and this has taken work for sure. But now I'm just like, you know what? Be you. If you're happy, be happy, just like let it out. And I think that light is contagious and that will reveal other people's lights that maybe they didn't know they had within them or they had allowed it to just kind of dim down.
Mm-hmm. And how are you finding, let's bring up the elephant in the room. How are you bringing light to this world amongst the coronavirus outbreak and pandemic?
I think one of the biggest things that I realized, I'm in LA and mostly everything is shut down now. The beaches, the hiking trails, the walk paths, all of that kind of stuff. But around my apartment complex, we're still able to run around. And what I've noticed is I've been running without music. So I can hear all the conversations that are going on. And every single conversation is about the coronavirus. And so I thought, wow, if this is just my neighborhood, I can only imagine the entire rest of the world and how much energy and momentum we're giving to this virus by continuing to talk about it. Like, we are the ones that actually can stop this if we stop talking about it as much and we start talking about the positive things and the beauty that can come out of this. And so that's the way that I'm choosing to look at it, because I think, and another way I'll break it down really quick is, the most of the stuff that people are talking about with this virus is the fear of uncertainty and the fear of unknown. Well, the interesting thing is, rewind 6 weeks, rewind 6 months, rewind 6 years. We still had the fear of uncertainty and the fear of unknown. We actually really don't know anything in this lifetime. We don't know what the next moment holds. And so if you think about it that way, like, I could get a text in the next minute that can completely flip my world upside down that has nothing to do with this virus whatsoever. And so being able to stay present in the moment of what I can control, which the only thing I can control is this exact present moment right now. I don't know what the future holds for anything or for anyone. And so I just want to be grateful in this moment that I have air in my lungs and that I can breathe, because I'd say that's the thing right now across the board, all around the world. People are fighting to breathe, fighting for that breath. And I think it's one of the things that we take for granted the most in this life. And so just being able to be present and to be very careful of what I'm consuming, what I'm allowing into my home, being my physical home, but also my heart, my home, my mind, body, soul. What am I eating? What am I drinking? What am I reading? What am I watching? Right? Just being very intentional with all of that.
So amazing. And if we ended the podcast episode right here, right now, that is so much golden information. And I wish everyone can really take that to heart, because that really does make a difference. Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit more about you and your story and what you are cooking up these days. So before we get into what's going on this weekend that you want to share. I'd love for you to talk about, you mentioned a moment that you've had hard times, you've had challenging times, and you always saw the light. So talk a little bit about the pain that you went through that turned into your purpose.
Mm. The most recent one, I mean, there's been so many things in this lifetime, right? The most recent I can think about that was extremely painful was 2018, around the end of September. And I started experiencing a lot of loss. And so whether that be financially, whether that be a best friend dying from cancer, my dad had a heart attack, and the way that his girlfriend, when she first said it, made it seem like he didn't make it, but he actually did. But I processed it very quickly in that way. And then my car got broken too, and I got a bunch of stuff stolen. So it's kind of like what we were talking about. Like, we don't actually really own anything in this lifetime, right? It's all borrowed, everything. And that's why I was saying we could get that text message and it could change our flip our world upside down. So when we actually realize that we don't own anything in this lifetime, and that it's borrowed, we can be super grateful for that. And so as I was going through that, I'm like, you know what? I don't know, even my parents are borrowed. All these things are borrowed, right? So I was just thinking that as I was processing through, and then I got extremely sick and I ended up in the hospital. And for the next 4 months, I couldn't drive my car. I could not go to the gym. I couldn't do any of the things that made me me. I was wasn't traveling, wasn't spending time with people, wasn't out in the community. I was kind of quarantined, right? I was just literally in my room. And it was extremely painful. And, after 4 months, I woke up one morning, I got this nudge from God that said, move. And I, at first thought he meant move, home, go back to Kansas. And then I realized he meant move your body, get up, movement is medicine. Because I wasn't willing to take any of the medicine the doctors were prescribing because I didn't actually know what was wrong with me. I wanted to know the root before I added, fuel to the fire. So I started moving, and I gave myself a challenge to run a mile a day. And through that process, and the first week, coughing up blood, couldn't breathe, crying, this is awful. And I just kept going and I realized through that process that something part of my purpose is to tell people not to give up when it gets hard, that there really is something beautiful on the other side of that. There really is a lesson for you in that. And I learned so much in that time. And I went 444 days in a row of running that mile a day. And businesses were built and friendships were formed and collaborations and all kinds of stuff. It was a really cool experience, but that was a very painful time in my life. And there was a lot of purpose on the other side of it. So that's the first thing that came to mind.
I love that. And that's a great message for everyone right now who's going through challenging times or feels like their world has flipped upside down, to know that there is something beautiful on the other side. So, will you give us an example of something that has greatly impacted your evolution as a human, as an entrepreneur, as a coach, as a retreat leader?
Yeah, I would say the thing that's most relevant to this time now is in 2014, when I was actually quarantined for 85 days. 15 of those days were in a hotel room without a balcony, and I didn't have a key to the hotel room. And so I could not leave anytime. I was in the hotel room, no technology, no outlets, no reading, none of that. Food was brought to my door there. And just those 15 days in general changed my life. But then I went into a cave for the next 60 days. And this was a part of a reality show. And it was very real. We really lived in a cave. We really slept outside on the ground in the dirt. We barely ate food. We lost a ton of weight, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally tested in every single way, shape, or form, which makes me now in this quarantine feel like I'm a queen. I'm I get to brush my teeth. I get to sleep in my bed. I get to choose the food I'm eating. I have water. I'm so grateful for every single little thing I have, where I think a lot of people in the world right now, this is the first time choice is being taken away and options are being taken away. And they're like, but I wanna go do this, and I wanna go there, and I want this food and that food. And they feel like it's being taken away. And I just feel abundance. I'm oh, I have so much compared to that time when I had absolutely nothing, not one worldly possession, not one outlet. Literally, imagine right now if everyone in quarantine, if all their outlets were taken away. So they couldn't plug in their computer. They couldn't plug in their phone. They couldn't plug in their fan. They couldn't plug in their NutriBullet, whatever, right? Like none of that was an option. And so that I think had the greatest impact on my life because it really taught me what truly matters in life, which is literally just love, connection, and relationships. That's it. That's the only thing. And we had that within the cave. There were 6 of us. And we just had real conversations. And that was it.
That sounds fascinating.
Yes.
That we can find out more about that experience. Is there like a TV show?
Yep. It was a TV show, 2014. I believe it's still on Netflix and Hulu, and then YouTube for sure. It's called Opposite Worlds. And it's really crazy too, because now that I think of it, this actually just hit me. 6 of us were living in the past in the cave. And then 6 people were living in the future, very futuristic. And we were separated by a glass wall, which means we could see everything they had that we didn't have. And so it really at first made us focus on lack and scarcity. And then we chose to stop looking over there and to focus on what we did have. And so then we started thinking we had it all, we're so abundant and so loved and all of that. But what just hit me is like the time we're in right now is literally the past and the present. It's like this quarantine thing, which makes you feel kind of like you're in the past and we're looking at the future of what's about to happen. And it's a lot of that stuff, talking to our house, stuck in our home, not really leaving that little bubble, having our little pods, working out from home, ordering our groceries and having them delivered. Like really kind of creepy when I'm thinking about it, because that was 2014. And the way they set up the future is what's happening literally right now.
Wow. That's very interesting. I can't wait to check that out. It sounds like a fascinating show, but it sounds like the moral of the story is stop complaining about your routine getting switched around. Stop complaining about the kids being home. Like there are so many great things.
Oh, so much to be grateful for. And I think it's either, I need to figure out if this is Buddha or Gandhi, but the quote, the problem is you think you have time and we don't, because none of us know what our expiration date is, right? Like it could be tomorrow or 20 years and it could be from a virus or a car accident or whatever, right? We really don't know. So like even in this time, be so intentional with everything that you're doing. Like I said about the consuming, like be intentional about what you're consuming, what you're reading, what you're watching, who you're talking to, what you're putting in your body, all of that stuff. It's so important because the problem is we don't know. We don't have time. And so just really doing what you want to do with this time is so important.
Speaking of which, you're doing some great, meaningful work in the world. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that and how we can learn more?
Yeah, I love that. So because of the cave experience and I realized how important human connection was, my entire business shifted into in-person. When everyone was kind of going online, I'm like, no, I'm old school. I want to create these experiences where we get in person, workshops, retreats, live events, everything in person, workouts, all that stuff. And all of a sudden overnight, that's all gone, right? Even, my business was that and also coaching people to do the same thing. So I could have let that take me down and just be like, oh, this is it. It's all over, or pivot because I don't know again what the future holds. And so instead of doing the in-person live events, like we had plans for the rest of this year, I pivoted that into a virtual summit because I truly believe that we can still bring people together. We can still connect. We can still learn. We can still grow. We can all work out together, even though we're in our separate living rooms. And I really just want people to know what is possible in this current climate and moving forward. And we're in a world of can'ts right now. You can't do this. You can't do that. And I want us to realize that we still can do so much. And there is so much that we can do to serve and support from wherever we are in the world. And really focus again on what we do have versus what we don't have. And so I saw this as a really awesome opportunity. And the cool thing is the lineup of speakers and trainers, successful entrepreneurs from all over the world is insane. Like I wouldn't have had that opportunity to have all of them come to the live event. Like there's no way with like flights and hotel and all this stuff to get everyone to come together. I would say before get in the rooms. Now I'm like getting the Zooms, but to be able to bring them all and to have them show up and serve using their unique gifts is going to be just like out of this world. So that's really what I want to do moving forward. And as I was planning this, I thought, well, I don't want it to just be a one-time thing. Like, this is going to be so impactful and so powerful that I'm going to do summit series. And so anyone that, gets a ticket to this first summit that includes 20 speakers, 3 movement specialists, incredible. They're also going to have the rest of April. So 4 more Saturdays in April where there'll be 2-hour workshops. So it'll be a talk and workshop style and then a live workout. And so all of these will be recorded. They'll have access to all of this. They'll also get like a gift in the mail. So I'm like the gift queen. Like, all of my events, like my swag bags are insane. And so I'm like, well, I have to still be able to give them something. And I'm like, I guess the new way is to mail it to them. So getting super creative and just figuring out ways to still collaborate, work with people, and just bring more love and more light into the world.
I love it. And you're doing a really great job. So I bought a ticket for your event and I didn't know all of those extra bonuses. So that's just icing on the cake.
Yeah.
The event is called the Recalibrate Summit.
Yep.
It's happening this Saturday virtually, and it's an all-day thing, right? So tell us a little bit about
all day. Yeah. So the Recalibrate Summit, and the reason I went with Recalibrate is I totally feel like we all have our own navigation systems and we just got blown off course a little bit. And so with just a few little tweaks and recalibration, we can get back on track and get back to our center, back to our true north. And from that place, we'll be in alignment and we can move forward and serve. And so that's where the name came from. I'm choosing to have it be an all-day event for people who can show up for the whole day and treat it like an in-person live event. Great. For those that have, other obligations, kids running around, they can have it on or they can watch the replay back. But we're going to start 8:30 a.m. on Saturday, April 4th, with a meditation and then a tapped in yoga flow, which is going to be so beautiful. So really going with N, where I feel like all the answers are. And then we'll go into our speaker series. At noon, we'll take a break and do a HIIT workout. We're actually going to do a capoeira. Have you heard of capoeira?
No.
It's like capoeira infused, like kind of kickboxing HIIT. It's so beautiful. It's just like a lot of movement. It's kind of like animal flow, but like a little more flowy. It'll be awesome. And the trainer for that, he used to be the trainer for The Biggest Loser. He's so awesome, and just love his energy. And then we'll go back into speaker series. And we will wrap up the day with stretching and mobility from my friend Doc Jen Fit, who's so incredible. And she'll kind of close this out to get everyone ready for bed, really.
Awesome. Well, if you guys are wondering where I'm going to be on Saturday, I'm my yoga clothes, got my laptop open, and I'll either be on the floor moving or in the bed, just relaxing, lounging, and soaking up all the great information that you're sharing. So I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
you were ready.
I was going to say one thing. What's really, really cool is they're going to be TED Talk style with 10 minutes of Q&A. So I'm really encouraging everyone to go look at the list of speakers and imagine you get to like phone them. Like, I get to call Christine Hassler and ask her whatever I want right now. So write down those questions and come ready so that when it comes time to Q&A, your questions are the first ones in the box so that we make sure that we get them answered.
Awesome. So I will post a link in the comments for anyone who wants to grab that ticket. And it was an amazing price. I was blown away at how affordable you're making this entire day's worth of information. Like, I know someone could spend $1,000 literally just sitting in front of all these speakers for the day. So
yeah, $47. Yeah, and the reason I just wanted it to be for everyone. I wanted it to be affordable, like everything that's going on. Like, I totally have a heart for that. And so, yeah, like you said, if it was in person or for these speakers and what they typically, charge for their talks and all that kind of stuff, it's such a good deal. And then, like I said, you're in for the whole month, and we'll have a private Facebook group too, where I'll be putting in workouts and recipes and mindset tips and stuff. So it'll be like our own little mastermind in April.
I love it. I'm so excited. And that was all a bonus. I didn't even know I was signing up to get like a whole month of support. So very
yeah.
So I have just 2 more questions to ask you. One, I would love to know what your vision for the world is.
Oh, that's such a good question. We're in a time now that and I'm a Christian. And so I feel like this is our time to like step up and to like pray for the healing of our world. And there's, I really believe that we were born for a time such as this. Like this is the time, and this is why we're here. I think a lot of times we always ask, why am I here? What's my purpose? For me, this is it. Like, this is it. Like the opportunity to pray from home, and spread love and spread light and goodness. I see us all collectively coming together and all waking up together. I feel like, a lot of us have been asleep for a long time, and this is our chance to truly wake up together and to see the change and be the change and all of that we've all been like seeking and longing for so long. So I really, it's like encouraging people to put out more good and positivity and stop gossiping, stop trying to take people down, like stop engaging in that stuff. Like, just be a good human, like be someone who, when you hear gossip, you stop it. Like it stops with you, right? Like disrupt the pattern. I think that's like what I think we're all going to be disruptors of this pattern that's been happening. And I see that actually truly healing our world and coming together.
Well, you just answered my next question. Like, what's the one thing our listeners can do, the one potent thing our listeners can do to shift things and to begin to start adding more hope, healing, and harmony to the world? And so to be the disruptor, right? Is there anything else you want to add to
that? I would just encourage everyone to take some time in this time where we are so plugged in to actually unplug. Because I do feel like it's in the stillness, in the quiet, that we find whatever answers that we are seeking. And I think that way too, when we do start filling ourselves up first, before others, and that's not a selfish thing at all. We want to be serving from our overflow. So we want to make sure that what we're filling ourselves up with, love, joy, abundance, that's what's like pouring out onto others. And so I think that's what we can be doing, is filling ourselves up with all the goodness. So we pour out all the goodness, as opposed to filling ourselves up with fear and doubt and judgment and gossip, because then that's what's going to come out. So just being super intentional with what we're consuming.
Absolutely. Well, Lauren, you are a beautiful soul. I'm excited to connect with you on Saturday with hopefully thousands of other viewers. Thank you so much for this time. People can find you on Instagram at _ Lauren Schwab.
Yep.
And anywhere else that you want to recommend people come and find you.
That's beautiful. That's where I'm at. I'm like a one platform person, like focus on one thing at a time. So yeah, that's perfect.
It's simple. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. Everyone, thank you for tuning in, and we will talk soon. Have a great day. Oh.
Yay.
Awesome. Yay.